Hi everybody, welcome to the first DayZ with Trizzo. My videos will largely be concerned with solo survival skills, single player combat, some clan action, and hopefully most of it on expert servers. I'm starting with navigation skills because I haven't seen any videos dealing with it in specific detail. As you're about to see, I'm on a recruit server. You will be able to see my current location and that I have the ability to set these magical waypoints to where I want to go. This is a completely unadventurous way to play. There is no sense of isolation, wilderness, or exploration. There is no incentive for you to learn how to read a map. This first video will explain the fundamentals of map reading, and the second video will be a detailed explanation of how to use a compass, and then how to use it in conjunction with the map. In DayZ, there are 6 different components to map reading. Now don't be scared off by the number 6. These 6 parts make up one whole. We just need to isolate them and explain what they are. The number 6 refers to the 6 different levels of detail on the map. The more you zoom into the map, the more the parts are revealed. Now I'm going to jump onto an expert server, and then we'll have a brief look at what those 6 different parts are, and then we will explain their specific detail. Part 1. Learning to read a map, map reading. Open the map by pressing M and use the mouse wheel to zoom out as far as possible. Part 1. Towns and elevation. Part 2. Grid location. Part 3. Roads and minor towns. Part 4. General topography and contours. Now contours are complex, but this will be explained in detail later. Part 5. Grid references. Part 6. Specific topography and icons. Some of the icons I'm just showing you now. The little black things on the map. Now we're going to break down the 6 different components and have a look at them in detail. Part 1. Towns and elevation. This gives you a general overview of the map. The bolder the writing on the map, the larger the town. The 3 airports are the double lines, and the numbers represent the elevation of hills and mountains, which is to say their height. This lets you get familiarized with the map and lets you plan out things in general. Part 2. Grid location. When we zoom in the map, these boxes have appeared. These boxes are known as grids. Grids are made by intersecting lines, and the 2 lines are your eastings, or east, which are vertical lines, and the second lines are north, or northings, which are horizontal lines. In order to take a grid location, we need to read the easting first. If I mark this waypoint, I can see that I am in grid 10, east. Then I look across to my left, where the line has intersected. It's useful to use this little red thing here. I can see that this intersects with grid 1, 2. So my current location is in grid 10, 1, 2. Let me show you. And I have joined a recruit server just so I can show you specifically on the waypoint. So I've marked that just somewhat north of where I am, right here on the power plant. There we go. There are 2 principal reasons that we learn to take a grid location. The first is that it is an essential navigational tool. I know that I am in grid 10, 1, 2. If I get a call from my friend to meet him in grid 06, 1, 1, I know approximately which direction I need to travel in. The second reason we learn to take a grid location is that it lays the foundation to take a grid reference. Grid references are slightly more complicated grid locations. They just have an extra number added to them, and they're more specific. Part 3. Roads and minor towns. As you can see when we zoom into the map, the roads have been revealed. We can use roads to navigate around the map without a compass. As you can see, I'm standing north of the power plant in Electro, and on the map there is only one road going north, which means my current location is on the road north of Electro. By following roads and then checking the names of the towns we pass, we can effectively navigate around the map without using a compass. General topography and contours. When we zoom into the map, more detail has been revealed. This is known as topography. Topography is a symbol, a shade, or a pattern on the map, and then that corresponds to a real-world object. For example, it doesn't take too much imagination to see that this is the ocean. The green is now trees. These yellow are roads, darker yellow are main roads. These are heavily forested areas, and there's a few other ones we can just have a quick look at. We can see that that's a factory. We can see that there's obviously a very big industrial area. We can start to see some rocks forming, the airstrip, big hangar buildings. That's topography. So let's have a look at our current topography. I'm on the roof at Electro. Unfortunately, I've taken a bit of damage while I was alt-tabbing, so I'm a little worse for wear. We can see to the north of the power plant, green, and that's a forest. Trees there. At the bottom of the power plant, and over there, there's nothing really there. That means that this area, when I look, I'm going to look south-west, there's going to be nothing southwest of the power plant. There'll be a road branching up to the northwest, and then there'll be some trees. Let's see if we can find that. There we go. Road branching off and up. The first road, and eventually it hits a thin line of trees. The second and more complicated part of part 4 is contours. Contours are these lines. What contours represent is a change in elevation. In real life, contours, the space between contours corresponds to a 20-meter change in elevation. So, north of the factory on the map is a hill. We can see by that triangle icon and tight contour patterns. The tighter the pattern, the greater the change in elevation. So we can see these contours rising steeply to the north and eventually flattening out at the top to make that peak there. Contours allow us to have a look at the surrounding terrain so we can find out where we are. If I didn't know that this was Electro, this is how I could find out where I was. I'd have a look at my topography. There's a road going south to a big town. If I look up this road, I can then see steep contours going up to a point, which makes that hill. Then I'll come over here and check this side of the map. I can see that the contours go down the hill to this grey area. We can see that they go down like this. And then if I look up this valley, there's not a lot of contours, which means there's not a lot of change in elevation, which means it's nice and flat. If I look up this way, I can see evenly spaced contours, which indicates a gentle slope. That's sloping fairly gently. So let's draw a picture. We have a slow, gentle slope to some water, and then a big steep hill going up. Let's go for a quick little run. That was scary. Despite that little boo-boo and death, that's contours and topography. The little water I was going to show you was the one you saw in roads and towns. So, without further ado, let's continue. Part 5. Grid references. As I zoom in and out, more grids appear. This has not changed my original grid location for Electro, which was 1, 0, 1, 2. We'll just use 10 and 12 to make it easy. What a grid reference does is adds a third digit to 1, 0. So now my easting becomes 1, 0, 2. What the 2 means is that I am 2/10 of the way east through grid 10. So now my new grid reference is 1, 0, 2, 1, 2, 2. So I am 2/10 of the way through my easting, and I am 2/10 of my way through my northing to the next grid location. By taking a specific grid reference, this allows us to find our exact location inside of a grid location. It allows us to find teammates and to find specific points on the map. Part 6. Specific topography and icons. When I bring up the map, you're going to see black lines, which are power lines on the map. Icons and the specific topography doesn't really need a lot of explanation. Most of the icons are fairly self-evident. But what you can use this for is to triangulate where you are. So I know that there's power lines right in front of me, forest behind me. That allows me to really pin down within a meter exactly where I am. And you're going to see that in the next video that I do, where I'll teach you how to use a compass and navigate around the map using a map and a compass. So this is where understanding the specific topography comes in handy, and it's up to you to really identify the features in the world map and then have a look at the map and figure out what they are. Well, thanks for watching, guys. I know this was a bit didactic, this video, just looking at kind of, numbers and maps and not a lot of action, but it's probably one of the most important and underutilized skills in DayZ. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it.